Okay, so I want to talk about how English doesn't exist anymore. Like, I'm currently not, this is not English. I'm not speaking English. I'm speaking Anglo Cosmopolitan. Anglo Cosmo. That's what I'm speaking. Okay, because it doesn't make sense to say, how long are we going to call this English? What I mean is, it's like English almost always started as a sort of mixed language. And then it was always this sort of absorbent language. It just went around absorbing all these different languages, right? What what's isn't the sort of these different words from all these different languages are within the um, English language from like the beginning? Okay, it it's one just a cosmopolitan language, right? I can go to Nigeria and I can talk to people. I can go to Singapore and I can talk to people. You know what I mean? I can go to Britain and I can talk to people. There might be a few sort of misinterpretations, a bit of a language barrier, but I'm just speaking a cosmopolitan language. And it's such a sort of multi origin language. It it's just this quilt of a language. How long are we going to call it English? It sounds, it's very similar to English, like English, very similar to it, but it's not English anymore. I feel like there's just um, going to be three languages now: Anglo Cosmopolitan, Indo Cosmopolitan, and Sino Cosmopolitan, right? Um, there's this Chinese sort of interconnected tribes or culture, and right, so it's one of the most spoken languages in the world, and that's just like what it's going to be. So, right, it's slowly expanding, and it's just becoming this cosmopolitan language, but it has this sort of Sino base to it, Sino cosmopolitan. And then one of the most spoken languages are like these you know, languages with historical sort of presences in South Asia, right? Indo cosmopolitan. Like in all these other languages, they're just like tribal or rural languages. And then there's Anglo cosmopolitan. It has this sort of Anglo base or, you know, primary origin, but it's no longer English. Because then I think of things like, I remember when that word on fleek became popular. So is fleek an English word? I mean, technically, it's just like a sound that probably has some that was produced through influence of English, but ultimately it's just a sound, fleek. You could have said that sound and it would have been spelt how they spelt it, or not spelt at all, fleek. Because the person who created that, this like sort of created it, because their language, primary English was language, does that mean it's now an English word? What dictates when something becomes an English word? But that's just the absorbent nature. It's like a snowball, right? And then there's these three main snowballs that are going to form. Like, I just don't know how I'm speaking an English language when it has so much sort of grammar and vocabulary and all these other things from all these different other languages and cultures. Hmm. It's just English. I speak cosmopolitan. I speak a cosmopolitan, and I see that's what's going to happen. It's going to be these three cosmopolitan languages, and then like sign language, like a universal or like hyper regional sign languages.